Hello and welcome to the CAINE Forensics video series. In this video, we will look at two tools for analyzing the Windows Registry, RegRipper and Fred, the Forensic Registry Editor. Please keep me energized by hitting the subscribe button and to get notified when the next video comes out. RegRipper is a tool for extracting, translating, and displaying information from Windows Registry formatted files such as the SAM, the system, the ntuser.dat, and mcache. It works via plugins which are written to perform specific functions. These plugins are written in Perl so they can be viewed with any text editor. RegRipper is not intended to browse the registry, nor is it intended to be used on a live hive file. On the CAINE platform, RegRipper comes in the flavor of a command line script called rip.pl, which can be pointed against a hive, then run either a profile, which is a list of plugins, or an individual plugin against that hive. The results are going to standard out, so you should redirect that into a text file. Fred, the Forensic Registry Editor, is a Microsoft Registry Hive viewer to conduct forensic analysis. It has features like a hex viewer with data interpreter and a reporting function that can easily be extended with custom script report templates. The report function has pre-made templates to get data from NT-user, such as the autoruns, recent documents, typed URLs, etc. The SAM hive, such as user account information, the software hive, so for autoruns and Windows versions, etc., and the system hive, with current network settings, system time information, USB storage devices, etc. Let's go ahead and run these tools on a dataset so you can see how they work. If you want to follow along, the link to the dataset is in this description below. I have gone ahead and already extracted the hives, the SAM, security, software system, and ntuser.dat files from the image. There will be a separate video on how to obtain those files from an image file or live machines. Let's take a look at Fred by launching it from the menu under Forensic Tools, Analysis, and then Fred. So let's go ahead and load up the software hive by clicking File, Open Hive, and then point to our extracted software file. Once loaded, we can drill down to view the information we're looking for, like what operating system was used on the computer. So going to the path of software, Microsoft, Windows NT, current version, we can see the information on the build number, product ID, install date, product name, registered owner, etc. Some of the key values is easy to understand, like product name and registered owner. But items like the install date are a bit harder to interpret. But Fred's data interpreter converts that data into a timestamp for us, so it makes it very easy. We can also use Fred to generate a pre-made report that interprets all that data for us. There is a bug in the CAINE 12 beta that causes Fred to crash when I try to generate reports. I find that if you launch it from the command line, it performs just fine. So I'm going to close out Fred and relaunch it from the command line. So we go ahead and select the Reports menu, Generate Report, and the pop-up panel shows you the default reports. You can create or download more reports and then place them in the location you specify in the Tools Preference menu. In this example, let's just select the Software Windows version report and click on it. You see that it tells you the hive is software, the report was written by Gillen Daniel, and for the description it says it dumps the Windows version information. We can get similar information by running RegRipper. So let's go ahead and launch a terminal, and then from the terminal window we're going to type rip.pl -r, the path of the software hive, and then -p winver for the module to run. So once that's done, we can see the output, which gives us
pretty much a similar breakdown as what we saw in Fred.
Now let's walk through some typical questions you need to answer when you are doing a forensics examination. It's always good to verify your results with a second tool, and always good to understand behind the scenes of how the tools derive their answers. We will use RegRipper and Fred's reporting to answer these questions. Then we will use Fred to view the registry so you know where the data is stored. Question number 1. What is the operating system that was used on the computer? To answer this question, we can go to Fred, load in the software hive, and then under the reports, we can select the Windows version. So once we do that, we can see that it tells us it's Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. Using RegRipper, we can do rip.pl, -r to read in the software hive, and then -p to run the WinVer or Windows version report. And once again, we can see that the answer is Windows 7 Ultimate Service Pack 1. Now let's go ahead and use Fred to traverse down the hives to take a look at where the answer is stored. So in this case, we're going to load the software hive, and then under that is Microsoft, Windows NT, current version, and then the key is product name. So once we look there, we can again see Windows 7 Ultimate. Question 2. When was the install date? So using the Fred reports, again, it is actually answered in the software hive under the Windows version report. And under RegRipper, it is also under the same software hive and then WinVer report. Using Fred, let's go ahead and traverse down the tree. So in the software hive, we look under Microsoft, Windows NT, current version, and then the key of install date. So here we can see that the install date is displayed in hex, right? The value is 550E-D2F2, which is kind of hard to interpret. But using Fred's interpreter, we can scroll down and see that that hex value in Unix time is actually March 22nd, 2015 at 1400 hours, 34 minutes, and 26 seconds. Question 3. Who is the registered owner? So the answer we have again already seen from when we ran the Fred reports for Windows version and RegRipper for WinVer. So let's go down the hive to see where the data is stored. So within the software hive, it's under Microsoft, Windows NT, current version, and then it's the registered owner key. And the answer is informant. Question 4. When was the last recorded computer shutdown date and time? So if we look under the Fred reports, if we load the system hive, there is a report called system shutdown time. And if we do RegRipper, we can do rip.pl, -r to read in the system hive, and -p to do the shutdown. Let's use Fred to traverse down the tree. So it's going to be under the system hive. And then for control set, we're going to use control set 001 because that's the active control set. Under there's control, Windows, and then shutdown time. So we see that the shutdown time is March 25th, 2015 at 1500 hours, 31 minutes, and 5 seconds. Question 5. What is the time zone settings? So under the Fred reporting, we can load the system hive, and then there's a report called system time info. With RegRipper, we can read in the system hive, and then for the plugin, we're going to select the time zone plugin. Using Fred, let's traverse down the system hive. I'm going to go to the current control set, control, and then time zone information. And we can see that it is set to Eastern Standard Time at UTC -5. Question 6. What is the computer name? So under the Fred report, we can look at the system hive, and then the current network setting report. Using RegRipper, we can use RegRipper to read in the system hive. And then for the plugin, we're going to do the comp name plugin. So -p comp name. And using Fred, let's go ahead and traverse down the system hive. We're going to look at the current control set, control, computer name, computer name. And we can see that the computer name is Informant PC. Question 7. Explain the information of network interfaces with an IP address assigned by DHCP. So under the Fred reports, let's load the system hive and then run the current network setting report. Using RegRipper, we can do rip.pl -r of system and then -p of IPS. We could also use the NIC2 plugin to look at the system hive. This will give us a little more information about DHCP. Using Fred, we can traverse down the tree by going to the system hive, current control set, services, TCP/IP, parameters, interfaces. So what we see here is that the IP for this machine is set to 10.11.11.129. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Name server is set to 10.11.11.2. Gateway is set to the same machine. The DHCP is at 10.11.11.254. And the domain is called local domain. Question number 8. List all accounts in the operating system except for the system accounts, which is administrator, guest, system profile, etc. From the Fred reports, we can load up the SAM hive and then run the user accounts report. With Registry Ripper, we can do rip.pl -r to read in the SAM archive, and then -p to read in the SAM parse plugin. And using Fred, we can traverse down the SAM hive to domains, account, users, names. Here we see admin 11, informant, the iTech team, temporary. Question number 9. Who was the last user to log into the PC? From the Fred reports, we can load up the SAM hive and then run the user accounts report. With RegRipper, we can do rip.pl -r to read in the SAM hive, and then -p to run the SAM parse plugin. And you will want to redirect the output into a file. Once the program is done running, we are going to VI the file, so then you can actually look at each account and look at all the dates and make the comparison to determine who was the last user logged in. Using Fred, we can traverse the SAM hive to domains, account, users. Here, you need to look at the user's relative identifier, the RID, for each user in the system. You will be looking at the F value within the key and look for bytes 8 to 15. Using the data interpreter, we can see the date of the last login for that user. After looking at each of the 4 accounts, we can determine
that informant was the last user to log in.
Question number 10. What is the account name of the user who mostly uses the computer? From the Fred reports, we can load in the SAM hive and then run the user accounts report. With RegRipper, we can do rip.pl -r to read in the SAM hive, and then -p to run the SAM parse plugin.
And you will want to redirect the output into a file. Once the program is done running, we are going to VI the file, so then you can actually look at each account for the login count, so you can determine which account logged in the most. Using Fred, we can traverse down the SAM hive to domains, account, users, and then for each user, we have to take a look at the F key. At hex offset 42 and 43 will be the little Indian representation of the login count. So once you've gone one by one, we can see that informant
is the account that has the most logins with 10. Question 11. What applications were installed by the suspect after installing the operating system?
The first question we have to answer is, when was the OS installed? Let's load the software hive and run the report to Windows version. This gives us the install date and time as 2015-03-22 at 14:34 hours. Now let's do a generate report and select installed applications and uninstalled applications. These reports are not in the default install of Fred. These reports were written by Christian Hammer and available on GitHub, so I had to download it and put them on my home directory under a folder called .fred/report_templates. Another thing to note is that these reports give you all applications, including the default Windows applications such as Paint and WordPad. So you will need to trim off those default Microsoft apps from this list to get the desired answer.
With RegRipper, we can do rip.pl -r to read in the software hive, -p to run the plugin of uninstall. Using Fred, we can traverse down the software hive. For the machine itself, under Microsoft, Windows, current version, uninstall.
If we scroll over a little on the left-hand panel, we can see the install date for the application. So for entries under the Microsoft Hive, we have .NET Framework, Bonjour, Office Pro, Eraser. If we look at the Hive underneath the folder WoW6432, we see Google Chrome, Google Update Helper, Google Drive, Apple Application Support, Apple Software Update.
Question 12. List the external storage devices attached to the PC. With Fred, we can load the system hive and then run the USB storage devices report. With RegRipper, we can do rip.pl -r to read in the system hive, -p to run the USB store plugin. With Fred, we can load the system hive, traverse down to current control set, enum USB store. What we see is two SanDisk Cruiser fit devices that has first and last connection timestamps and associated serial numbers. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video, where we took a look at two registry analysis tools available on the CAINE Forensics distro. Fred is the Forensic Registry Editor, and it's a GUI tool which allows you to view the registry hives and includes a data interpreter to make date-time conversions much easier. Plus, it has a great reporting function. RegRipper is the command line tool that extracts, translates, and displays registry information. Hope you enjoyed it, and if so, click on the thumbs up icon to like this video. Please hit the subscribe button to get notified when the next video comes out. Also, please leave me messages in the comment section below so I know what you liked and didn't like, or what you may want to see in future videos. See you next time.